Welcome to Pop Flashback. I'm your host, Rick Smalls.
And I'm Tina Boucher.
Today we are looking behind the scenes, really getting into the making of the film Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, an absolutely iconic movie, often called, one of the greatest war films ever.
Definitely. And it's adapted from Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, but famously moves the action.
Right, from the 19th century Congo straight into the Vietnam War.
The whole concept, Captain Willard hunting down Colonel Kurtz.
Yeah.
It was incredibly ambitious.
Oh, hugely ambitious. But actually making it, that turned into this chaotic journey, almost like the war itself.
It really mirrored the film's intensity, didn't it? We should probably unpack some of those challenges.
Yeah, there were quite a few. It's amazing the film ever got finished, honestly.
Absolutely. And it's striking how things started to unravel almost from the get-go, like the decision to film in the Philippines.
Well, yeah, that seems smart on paper, right? Logistically, they thought it would help. Access to military helicopters, things like that.
But it created its own massive problems almost immediately.
It really did. What's kind of wild is how real life just kept crashing into the production.
You mean with the helicopters?
Exactly. The Filipino military, they lent the production helicopters, but they were also fighting an actual civil war.
So the helicopters needed for like a big battle scene
Would suddenly get recalled for real battles? Imagine the disruption. Constant delays, messing up planned shots.
That's unbelievable. Trying to direct a fake war while your props get pulled into a real one.
It just shows how unpredictable it all was, filming something that huge in such a, complex place.
The frustration must have been immense.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really just the start, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Just warming up. Because then Mother Nature decided to weigh in.
The typhoon?
Typhoon Olga. Hit early in the production and hit hard.
What did that actually do to the filming?
Caused massive destruction. A lot of the, really elaborate sets they'd built wrecked, just wiped out.
Wow. So more delays.
Months of delays. And of course, added a huge amount to the budget, which was already getting pretty strained.
It really feels like the odds were just stacked against them from day one.
It does. It's kind of a miracle they didn't just pack up and go home after something like that. Shows incredible. Well, maybe stubbornness.
Or sheer determination, maybe.
Yeah, determination. But as things dragged on, the challenges weren't just external, right? They started piling up internally, too.
Okay, we need to take a quick break here. We'll be right back. After a word from our sponsor, Hangry.com. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
Hangry.
Hangry. Totally. And we're looking at their online shop today, and it's pretty wild. Got like everything you could think of, from t-shirts and sweatshirts to candles and stickers, and they've got, all this stuff with this really fun, food-themed kind of spin on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they've taken, what's a pretty negative emotion and spun it to be something.
To be something good.
Yeah, like something relatable and fun.
And we're back on Pub Flashback, talking about the chaotic making of Apocalypse Now. So before the break, we were talking about the typhoon.
Right, and how the problems started shifting from, external disasters to internal pressures.
Yeah, the atmosphere on set sounds like it became incredibly intense.
Well, you put together the tough conditions, the heat, the jungle humidity, all those constant delays and setbacks.
It must have taken a serious toll on everyone.
Absolutely, and you hear stories about how people were coping, or maybe not coping. Substance abuse became pretty widespread, apparently.
The accounts of drinking and drug use are quite stark.
Yeah.
And it seems like Martin Sheen, playing Willard, was hit particularly hard.
Yeah, the story suggests he developed a really serious drinking problem during the shoot.
To the point where he couldn't work sometimes.
Exactly. They apparently had to use a body double for him on occasion. And that famous opening scene in the hotel room.
Willard's breakdown. Yeah, it's iconic.
Well, the word is, that was less acting. And more him genuinely struggling with the immense pressure he was under. Pretty raw.
Wow. That's intense. How the chaos behind the scenes just bled right onto the screen.
It really blurred the lines. And then Marlon Brando showed up.
Ah, Colonel Kurtz himself. Which sounds like it added a whole new layer of complexity.
That's one way to put it. It's interesting because Brando apparently arrived later in the shoot and was reportedly quite critical of what he saw as unprofessionalism.
Critical. Despite the fact that his own preparation was, let's say, unique.
Unique is putting it mildly. Reports say he hadn't read the script, hadn't even read Heart of Darkness, the book it's based on.
Seriously? How did he even approach the role then?
And he refused to learn lines, so his performance ended up being largely improvised.
Which must have forced Coppola, the director, to completely change how he worked with him.
Oh, definitely. Their relationship apparently got super strained, needed the assistant director to kind of mediate.
And he didn't get along with other actors either.
Reports suggest he had difficulties there too, yeah. Which meant more complicated ways to film scenes, more editing headaches later.
Plus, wasn't there the issue with his physical appearance?
Right, he'd gained a significant amount of weight, so they ended up having to shoot him, often in shadow or using specific angles to kind of minimize that.
Just managing him sounds like a film production in itself.
Pretty much. It's honestly staggering to think they pulled a coherent, let alone masterpiece, film out of all that chaos.
It truly is. So, thinking about everything, the typhoon, the helicopters, the Civil War, the onset struggles, Brando, it's just an incredible story.
A real odyssey, like you said earlier. And you really feel that intensity, that almost hellish journey in the final film. It's like the production chaos seeped into its DNA.
It absolutely did. Which leads to a question for you listening. Considering the sheer scale of everything that went wrong, all the difficulties we've talked about, what single part of this behind-the-scenes story do you find the most surprising or maybe the most revealing about why the finished film has such a powerful, unsettling impact?
Yeah, what stands out most to you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them.
Definitely. Well, that's all the time we have for today on Pop Flashback. Thanks for listening.
Remember to like and subscribe so you can get our next episode.
Catch you next time.